I'm pro stealing from big corporations. Yeah, no, I'm pro piracy all the way, like across the board. We gotta get back to cool crimes like that, like bank robberies. Chaos, full chaos. Let's go. I mean, look.
Hasan Piker is hyping theft and lawlessness. We're getting into the absolute chaos that would ensue if we followed this insane worldview today. On The Legal Mindset, we teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney, and this is a Fast Facts video, the quick and nerdy version of the latest in legal news. So let's get right into the clips with the latest in Hasan's insane takes on theft.
Would you steal from Whole Foods?
You want to go first?
And this is a real fun part to start because when you see here, he defers to the audience, he defers to the interviewer, and this is very much on point and going to be consistent through everything Hasan does, where he really is just going with what opinion he feels is popular, what opinion he feels is safe in that space, right? That's really what he's going for here, is thinking, okay, I'm going to come into this and see how cool they think theft is, and then we're going to riff from there. And that's really an overall theme in all of this interview that he did.
Well,
right, guys?
I'm pro stealing from big corporations because they steal quite a bit more from their own workers. However,
and this is kind of the big gift here. He wants to, and other people want to go off of, okay, we hate corporations, therefore theft is okay. But the problem is, if you start with corporations and normalizing theft and saying theft is okay in X circumstance, there really are no brakes on that crazy train. And you're going to see him try to cope and get over this time and time again in this interview.
One thing that might even help your ethical dilemma is the fact that the automated process that they design, these companies know will increase shrink, right? So it's actually factored in. The lemons that you stole are factored into the bottom line of these mega corporations regardless, and they still end up having increased profit margins because they no longer have to pay the cashiers that they...
And this is categorically not true. There is a certain level of shrinkage or loss that is factored in. However, at a certain point, corporations, as somebody who's worked with corporations knows, they are going to implement measures to stop that. So what they're going to do at a certain point is they're going to implement loss protection, right? They're going to do other things. Even if you push them far enough, as you're going to see, they will close down stores.
They come here, they steal. Now what's going to happen to this neighborhood?
Shoplifting on a large scale has become a national crisis. Target's East Harlem store is one of 9 locations. It's closing nationwide, all for the same reason.
CVS, they're all closing. These guys are shoplifting left and right, and it's horrible.
The residents here have some choice advice for shoplifters.
Get a job.
So as you can see, there will be consequences if the shrinkage is not contained.
Used to hire as opposed to this automated system, knowing full well that people are still going to be able to still steal a lot more efficiently, as a matter of fact, through the automated process.
Totally. Well, I'll also...
And that's not the only thing. For example, there can also implement measures like RFID, et cetera, to stop that. There's plenty of ways to stop that. For example, the corporation can justify hiring 1 security guard, 2 security guards, right, instead of X amount of cashiers. There's ways to stop this. So his plan here, his thought process doesn't really break down in terms of even corporate logic inside a corporation. But what goes beyond that is a lot of the stores that you may think are corporations, they may have some big brand label. These may be franchises, may be owned by families, may be family run and operated. So these things that you think are big corporate may actually be stealing from somebody who is absolutely your neighbor.
Yeah.
But what about the argument that if everyone just starts stealing wantonly from the self-checkout machines, Whole Foods will eventually raise the prices?
Not just raise the prices, they will actually shut down the store. Target did this in 2003, once again, with 9 stores they shut down in San Francisco, New York, Portland, Seattle. So it's not just they're going to raise the prices, they're going to shut down the stores. And the stores are going to shut down are going to be in the areas with the poorest of people, with the people that maybe are committing these thefts, or areas that are very high in crime. So you're going to end up with areas that do not have stores, that literally do not have places for people to go to buy things, because those stores have just said, hey, we're just going to pull out of that area and not serve that area. So in the end, this ends up hurting stores in places that are the most vulnerable. And of course, the stores that are in Hasan's neighborhood, the wealthy neighborhoods of LA, those aren't going to shut down, right? That's not going to hurt him. So he really doesn't care. He just is putting this out there for a political talking point.
Yeah, chaos, full chaos. Let's go. I mean, look, I'm in favor of fast and free buses, and also government-owned storefronts.
As if a culture of stealing wouldn't affect a government-run storefront. This is the most insane thing ever. Or wouldn't keep people, for example, from going on the bus without paying. Once you've created that culture of criminality and you've got it into people's heads that they can just steal, they're not suddenly going to stop stealing because they go to the grocery store and they're like, oh, well, this is government funded, so I shouldn't steal from this. No, they're going to say, hey, look, I'm not paying that much in taxes, or I don't care about, these other people paying taxes. I'm going to steal from this. Or people from out of town, people from other places that aren't paying those taxes. Yeah, they're going to come in there and steal. So his whole dividing line here is not something that actually functions in reality.
And, two of those policies, the mayor of this beautiful city is currently working on.
Would you encourage stealing in the same way from a Mamdani-run city-owned grocery store with lower prices? And why?
I would not, because I feel like that's taxpayer funded. And the prices are this union labor, and the prices are also adjusted regardless.
That is absolutely false, right? Once again, you're going to end up in a situation where these government stores would be stolen from as well. They'd face the exact same problem as the corporate store. What would be different, right? What would be different in the minds of the people that have now normalized that theft behavior, normalize that criminal behavior? There absolutely would be nothing different there at all. So that criminality would go through. And the people that would get caught for these crimes would be people that are perhaps the teenage listeners of Hasan that would end up now as career criminals that have got that in their system, would be put into the prison system, put into the penal system, and have that normalized for their lifetime. This would hurt extremely vulnerable people. But it doesn't end there for Hasan.
Yeah, no, I'm pro piracy all the way. Like across the board. Would you pirate a car? Yes. Yeah, sure. If I could get away with it, if it was as easy as
yeah, and see, that's the thing there. It isn't easy. And the thing is, for a nepo baby like Hasan, who's only got experience riding polo horses, which he probably couldn't even steal anyways, right? But even at that point, right, it's not easy to do these things, or else other people would do them, right? These things are things that people would do if they were capable of doing them, but they're not. But encouraging petty retail theft, he's putting that out there as something that, once again, people can do, people might know how to do, but would cause massive amounts of problems all around the United States. And once again, would only end up hurting the very people in those communities, and also the poorest, perhaps the workers, etc. When they close down those stores, where are those workers going to go? Now, Target, when it closed down their stores in 2023, did transfer a lot of the employees, but not all of them are going to be there. Many of them are not going to be let go. Other people, many of them will be let go, and some of them will not be rehired, etc., may not want to transfer to a new location. So this is just going to end up hurting people that actually need that money the most.
Pirating IP, I would do it. Yeah.
Would you dine and dash from your local diner?
Never. Tip 35%. Mike's, come on.
No, I wouldn't do that. And if I saw...
And once again, you see, as with the beginning, he waited for the response there and then saw, okay, everyone's against this, we're not going to do that. But the problem here is, once again, that a lot of those places you think are corporate are actually owned by mom and pops, right? And if you really get down to it and you start to go into this lawlessness, etc., you're going to see people, families defending their businesses. We're going to end up with a rooftop Korean type situation with people defending their businesses that they put their hard-earned money into, which is all that he's encouraging here, which is very, very, very dangerous.
Would you steal from the Louvre?
Yes.
Would I cheer on every news story of people that I see doing it? Absolutely.
And this is the whole thing, is that this is just a dream for these people. This is something they've seen in a heist movie, and they've seen like Ocean's 11 or something like that, and they want to try to be the protagonist or whatever in a movie or story. But unfortunately for Nepo babies like Hasan, this is reality. This is not a movie. This is not something that you're just seeing on TV. This is reality. He is not Luffy, right? He's not out there able to actually go out and do these things. He has none of the skills to do these things. He has none of the ability. And he's actually just encouraging other people, once again, his teenage audience here, to go out and do these things, which I think is absolutely dangerous. And I think it's a reason why the platforms should look at, hey, can we really have somebody on our platform who's encouraging this behavior amongst the audience, amongst kids, teens, etc., that are watching this content, consuming this content? I mean, I think this is a problem. And if I was an advertiser on that platform, I would be deeply concerned about this as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's cool. We gotta get back to cool crimes like that, like, you know, bank robberies, right? Stealing priceless artifacts.
Once again, all of this is absolute dreaming. He's thinking about a world in which this is movies or something like that, where you're stealing from the Louvre, etc. These are actual serious crimes you are encouraging people to do or engage in or promote. And as you see people making these attempts, oftentimes streaming these attempts, you're just going to create criminals, because you think that corporations, you think the Louvre, you think other places haven't thought about theft, haven't thought that theft is a reality and taken precautions against theft for the last hundreds of years. Of course they have. And the people that you're encouraging to go out and do this are going to get caught. They're probably going to try to do it while live streaming, as we've seen a trend with people across the internet live streaming their crimes.
Look, I got me some Target too. Guess how much I paid? $3.99.
Continue scanning.
What the f*** do I get this? If it don't scan, it's free, right?
And they're going to end up criminals. They're going to end up getting caught. So here's my judgment. So in judgment, encouraging theft ultimately is going to hurt the most vulnerable people. It's going to hurt his young audience. It's going to hurt those communities where that theft happens. It's going to hurt the people that actually want to go out and buy stuff, the innocent people in that neighborhood that want to buy stuff that aren't stealing, and they now cannot go to Target. They now cannot go to other stores that they would have gone to in that area because they've pulled out due to theft. This promotion of lawlessness, it only leads to a normalization that is dangerous, because once you've justified a little bit, once you've justified doing it in one case, oh, it's just a big corporation. Where does it stop? Oh, well, it's a family-run business. Well, this one's profitable, so we're going to steal from them because they have money, they're profitable. Then you go down and stealing from any family business because, well, you know, it's a business, right? It doesn't stop anywhere, and it's a very, very dangerous normalization of this behavior, which absolutely should be discouraged, not just by the platforms, advertisers, but by everybody. And to the extent that law enforcement needs to get involved to crack down on the promotion of lawlessness, I think there is a limit, there is a line at which they are going to have to get involved in this. But at the end of the day, actions have consequences, and there will be consequences down the road for anyone who engages in the behavior promoted by Hasan Piker. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below, and I will catch you on the next one.